Hello and welcome, I'm the Invisible Man, and today we're talking about one of the greatest sci-fi franchises out there, the Terminator franchise. It all started in 1984 with a single low-budget 80s action film, and it blossomed into a multitude of movies, TV shows, video games, books, you name it. And if you're new to this series, the time travel element can make it quite confusing. So today I'm going to do my best to break down the details of the Terminator timeline for you. Grab some popcorn, this is gonna be a ride. First, we start off with Timeline 0. This is the original, undoctored timeline where no one has time traveled yet. In 1984, a woman named Sarah Connor becomes pregnant with a son named John Connor. We don't know who John's father is in this timeline, but we do know it is not Kyle Reese. We'll come back to that in a minute. On August 29th, 1997, an AI known as Skynet determines humans are a threat to its existence. As a result, it launches all of the nuclear missiles at its disposal and kills 3 billion people instantly. This event is known as Judgment Day. Then, to take out the survivors, Skynet develops an army of machines to wipe out the remaining humans. But the human resistance has a strong leader, John Connor, Sarah Connor's son. He leads the humans in a war against Skynet to reclaim the Earth for humanity. Realizing it may lose this war, Skynet develops a time travel device so it can change history and prevent its demise. But only living things can travel through the machine. So it also invents the T-800, a machine wrapped in living tissue that can survive the trip. Now Skynet can change history so that the war ends in its favor, but due to the butterfly effect, it only wants to use the machine as a last resort. In the year 2029, John Connor successfully terminates Skynet, securing the victory for the human race. But right before its destruction, Skynet sends back a T-800 to 1984 to kill John Connor's mother so John Connor will never be born. That way, every victory the humans have ever had will never happen, since they won't have their strong leader to guide them. Thinking quickly, John Connor sends back his right-hand man, Kyle Reese, to protect his mom from the Terminator. Here's where the first branch in the timeline happens. The presence of Arnold and Reese creates Timeline 1, which begins with an alternate version of 1984. Reese protects Sarah from Arnold.
Come with me if you want to live.
And to show her appreciation, the two of them have sex. Reese and the Terminator are both destroyed, Sarah goes on the run just in case other Terminators show up looking for her, and she is now pregnant with her son John, who is now Kyle Reese's son. In addition, the remains of the Terminator are recovered by Cyberdyne Systems, and an engineer named Miles Dyson studies the Terminator's futuristic technology so he can build the AI known as Skynet. Now, many folks believe this to be a predestination loop. Kyle Reese always went back and fathered John, who would grow up to send Reese back to the past so he could be born. And Skynet always sent the Terminator back, thus ensuring Miles Dyson had something to study to create Skynet. But this actually can't be the case. If the future is set in stone, then Reese and the Terminator going back shouldn't have changed anything, because they were always a part of history. And since Skynet was destroyed right after sending back the T-800, there's no way the T-1000 could be sent back in the second movie. So the predestination theory no longer works. We then come to Terminator 2. As a result of the Terminator technology getting sent back, Miles Dyson was able to make Skynet more advanced than it originally was, since he based it off of technology that hadn't been invented yet. So Skynet developed the T-800 even sooner than before, and had more time for other R&D to create even more deadly Terminators. Judgment Day happens on the same day as before, and Skynet is destroyed by John Connor on the same day as before. But because this version of Skynet was more advanced, by the time this Skynet was destroyed, it had already completed a more advanced Terminator model, the T-1000. With the ability to shapeshift, mimic human voices, turn its body to liquid metal, and heal itself from any wound in mere seconds. So Skynet sends back one of these machines to kill young John Connor in 1995. Anticipating that Skynet would try this again, the Resistance thought ahead this time and reprogrammed a T-800 to follow John Connor's orders. They sent back this Terminator to 1995 to protect young John from termination.
Get down!
This creates Timeline 2, where the presence of these two Terminators changes history yet again. Arnold tells John and Sarah the inventor of Skynet is Miles Dyson, and they go warn him not to complete his work or else they'll have a nuclear holocaust on their hands. Dyson agrees, and takes them all to Cyberdyne where they can destroy his research and ensure no one will ever be able to complete Skynet. Unfortunately, the police show up, and Dyson is killed in the process. But hey, at least he goes out with a bang! I'll see myself out. Then the T-1000 is destroyed, the original Terminator's remains are destroyed, and good Arnold sacrifices himself to prevent his technology from ever being reverse engineered.
I order you not to go. I order you not to go. I order you not to go.
I know now why you cry. But it's something I can never do.
Then the Terminators become the Terminated, Skynet is never created, and everyone lives happily ever after. Is how this should have gone, but unfortunately, Hollywood just doesn't know when to quit! Apparently, the events of T2 didn't prevent Judgment Day, they only delayed it. Enter T3. Even though Miles Dyson's version of Skynet was destroyed, the military had already shown interest in the technology. After Dyson's death, they created their own version. The new timeline features Judgment Day happening in 2004. We see 2 more robots travel back to this year. The TX, sent to kill John's lieutenants, and the TA-50, another reprogrammed Terminator. Is it just me, or are these movies getting a little repetitive? Arnold explains to John that he was the robot who successfully killed John in the year 2032. Then his wife, Kate Brewster, reprogrammed Arnold and sent him back to protect her younger self from the TX. This, of course, changes the timeline again, creating timeline number 3. John and Kate have forewarning that Judgment Day is about to happen, and they get to a nuclear bunker before it occurs. Arnold takes out the TX.
You are terminated.
And Skynet lays waste to the world. Unable to stop it, John becomes the leader humanity needs.
This is John Connor.
Connor? What the hell is happening? Who's in charge there?
I am.
Then we get to the next movie, Terminator Salvation. No one time travels in this movie, so it's still the same timeline. John fights machines and... Nope, that's the whole movie. It's basically just Transformers with Christian Bale.
What should I tell your men when they find out you're gone?
I'll be back.
Ugh. Moving on. Terminator Genisys. Now here's where things get wacky. Hold on to your hats, because this is a really complicated movie. The first time I watched it, I couldn't even tell what was going on. So I went on Wikipedia and read the plot summary. And somehow, after reading the plot, it made even less sense! The movie shows John Connor and his resistance fighters in the year 2029. The team successfully takes down Skynet, but Skynet sends back a T-800 to kill Sarah Connor. Okay, I'm with you so far. John prepares to send back Kyle Reese, all according to plan, but then as he's about to leave...
You didn't think it would be that easy, did you?
Skynet disguised itself as T-5000 to infect John Connor with nanobots and turn him into a Terminator. Now, where did this physical form of Skynet come from? A different timeline. Which timeline is it? Who knows? So as Skynet infects John, Reese sees visions of his past, and now he has memories of the original timeline as well as a new timeline created by Skynet turning John into a Terminator. Arnold and Reese both arrive in 1984, only to find that the past has been altered. Turns out they did not arrive in Timeline 0 like they originally did, but instead they ended up in Timeline 4, created by 2 more Terminators traveling back to 1973 and changing history again. It's revealed that some version of Skynet from yet another timeline sent back a Terminator to kill Sarah Connor in her youth. And the resistance of that timeline sent back, guess what? A reprogrammed Terminator. Sarah's family died, but Sarah survived, and she was raised by this Terminator, so she named him Pops. Then Pops told Sarah she would one day meet Kyle Reese, have a son together with him, and that boy would become John Connor, the leader of the Resistance. Pops taught Sarah how to fight, thus leading to a very different timeline, and by the time the T-800 shows up in 1984, Sarah and Pops are already ready for him. Now you may wonder how Reese and Arnold made it to this timeline if they traveled back in time from this one. Or was it this one? It's really ambiguous. Plot holes aside, Reese arrives in this timeline, but this time discovers a T-1000 waiting to kill him. And just where did this machine come from? Another stinking timeline! Wow, this is bad! This is just lazy writing! This is time travel ex machina! Sarah saves Reese from the T-1000, and Pops uses the chip from the T-800 to build his own time machine. Sure, because the movie wasn't complicated enough already! Sarah wants to travel to 1997 to stop Judgment Day, but Reese insists he has new memories that Skynet actually goes online in the year 2017. So they travel there instead, and Pops waits for 33 years in real time before meeting them in 2017. Once there, they discover their son, now a T-3000 Terminator loyal to Skynet, was sent back to 2014 and worked with Miles Dyson, who is now alive because he never blew himself up, to build Genisys, a cloud-based operating system that will become Skynet. And if you're wondering how John got to this timeline, because he's Batman! Then he tries to kill his parents, even though that would mean he'd never be born! Luckily they escape, and then destroy Skynet and the T-3000. Then Reese tells his younger self Genisys is Skynet, thus ensuring he will know to travel to 2017 to stop it. Whew! And there you have it, kiddos! The entire Terminator timeline from T1 through Genisys. I hope you enjoyed this explanation, and if you like this, be sure to check out my full review of Terminator Genisys. Oh man, I can't believe I have to watch that movie again. I'm the Invisible Man, and wish me luck.